Well, it's took a couple of weeks since my first sighting here at Sherwood of this particular beetle. Here's one that I can film, because this is at my kind of height. This little beetle here is the famous Hazel Pot Beetle. This is one of Sherwood's rarest species. Although Sherwood Forest has a number of red data book 1 beetles, they're not all like this. Most are about between 1 mil and 3 mil long little brown jobs that live in the heart of dead trees. This is entirely the opposite. Measuring almost a centimetre long, this female is larger than the male. The females are this lovely rich chestnut brown colour on both the pronotum and the elytra, but the head is black. In males, the difference is the pronotum. It's black in males. Its rarity status is Red Data Book 1, which means that nationally it's classed as critically endangered. And indeed, when Dillis and I refound this beetle at Sherwood after a 70-year gap, not that we were looking for 70 years, it created quite a stir among the Coleoptera community. Even Natural England got excited about it and issued a press release which ensured that the news of our discovery of this beautiful beetle went worldwide. It reached even some of the more famous American newspapers and some less famous newspapers from across the world. After the discovery, there was a survey for this beetle, and numerous adults were found. Later work that Dillis and I did involved would be fortunate enough to reach the top of the birches, where we found out that this is where this beetle spends most of its time, not at lower levels, but all the way up there. We had the use of a cherry picker, and that proved invaluable. We went from having counts of between 1 and 4 beetles per sort of survey here to over 20. That's because they were all at the tops of trees and out of sight. Indeed, the best way to survey for these beetles is to use binoculars and then a birdwatching scope to confirm their identity. They spend an awful lot of time doing this, sitting on a leaf doing nothing. They are more active in hot weather, but the females will still sit in the middle of a leaf, usually facing upwards towards the midrib, and the males fly around and will drop on the females quite literally. It was long thought that this beetle was a poor flyer, mainly because most beetles were found on scrub birches, and it wasn't until Dillis and I did find a male on a scrub oak, of all things, which had obviously recently hatched, but when the sun came out and it warmed up, it took flight and headed straight up. That's what made us realise we'd been looking in the wrong place, even though we'd found numbers of this beautiful beetle. So if you do fancy looking for this beetle and you're using binoculars or a scope, this is the posture. Even if you can't see the beetle particularly well, identification can be done on posture. Only really, as far as I've known, Cryptocephalus beetles to rest like this. Females and the males will usually sit close to or on the midrib of the leaf and pointing up towards the leaf stalk. The colour helps to differentiate it from ladybirds, even when the beetles are sat at the top of a birch. It's a distinctive resting posture, and one, if you put enough hours in, will eventually learn. But it remains that this beetle is a very difficult find, even here at Sherwood, where it's known to occur. So this is, or was, the Hazel Pot Beetle. Without a doubt, Sherwood Forest's most famous beetle. It even made it onto some Great British stamps a number of years ago. I think it was 2008, about a month before we refound it here at Sherwood. It had been thought to be extinct at the time. However, as you can see, it isn't. But it goes to show how, for over 70 years, a conspicuous species of beetle like this, with its beautiful chestnut red coloration, can go missing at a site. Despite many articles and items of literature saying the contrary, it's difficult to declare a species as being extinct without looking for it for many years. Sometimes probably 50 years. But then you can never, as in this case, you can never be sure that a species is completely extinct from a site. The only way you'll find that out is by putting in lots of hours of field work. But hopefully, after I'm long gone, someone will still be interested enough to come and look for this lovely little beetle. It's such a rare species, but it's well worth looking for when you find one as confiding as this.